Minister, good morning. Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Donovan Stanberry, campus registrar here on the Mona campus, and we are very happy to welcome all of you to this important launch of a critical short course dealing with boosting our capacity as a nation to deal with financial crimes, to fight financial crimes and investigate them. A few months ago, the university, consistent with its strategic plan, launched an administrative unit we call UWI to manage and coordinate professional short courses. The purpose of that unit was not just to bring all the existing short courses on our campus within one common framework, but more importantly, to go out there and find partners with industry, with governments, with international bodies, with the private sector, to customize and put on these courses. It's a more flexible construct than our normal Senate-approved courses when you want to design a course to address a particular issue. So it was within that vein that our dynamic director, Dr. Burke, sought and found these partners, the IDB and the British High Commission, and today we are launching this course. So we are very happy to welcome today in our presence the Honorable Minister of Finance, Honorable Favour Williams, who knows this room very well. Please welcome her. Our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckford, please welcome him. Beckles, sir. The Vice Chancellor and myself suffering from jet lag, okay? We're happy also to welcome, who is one of our partners in this venture, the High Commissioner from the United Kingdom, Her Excellency Alicia Herbert. Please welcome her. We all know Mr. Dennis Strong as the head of the Financial Investigation Division, very well known to us here as a member of our F&GPC, the campus major governance body. Please welcome Mr. Strong. I've already spoken to the dynamic Olivine Burke, Dr. Burke, who is head of the UWI. And we should have had, she hasn't reached here yet, the country rep for IDB, Natasha Marzol, but I think she's represented here. She's coming. Thank you. And there's another rep from the IDB. We deal with him on a first-name basis. His name is Jason. All right? So, in the room, we also have to recognize the Commissioner of Customs, Mrs. Velma Ricketts-Walker. Please welcome her. Is somebody you need to like and welcome better, especially at this time, right? And we have from MOCA, Colonel Edwards. Please welcome Colonel Edwards. Also we have here, and if you see I'm quaking a little bit in my boots, because we have representative from the Integrity Commission. Please welcome them. And within our room here would be a number of our faculty who will in fact be facilitating this important course. So our principal is not here, and I apologize for him, in the body that is, but he will be joining us via Zoom at the appropriate time, which is now. So let us all stand for the national anthem. Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil pores. Be our light through countless hours. To our leaders, great defenders, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever, Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Store response to duty's call. Strengthen us the weak to cherish. Give us vision lest we perish. Knowledge send us, Heavenly Father. Grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever, Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Thank you very much. I know many of you are taken off guard because you expect a recording. But we have talents here at the university. We are welcoming now as she enters the IDB representative in Jamaica, Miss Natasha Marzolf. Welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, our program is very simple. This morning we are going to have a series of remarks, and we are going to start with our principal, who will zoom in, and then the Vice Chancellor, and then the Honorable Minister, in that order.
Are you ready for me?
Ready, Principal.
Okay. Very good morning, everyone. And Registrar, I heard you singing, and I'm very pleased to know that that talent at the university is going far and wide. And so thank you very much. Colleagues and friends, good morning. And again, I really apologize for not being there in the person. I did have a conflicting South-South dialogue that I had to attend. And so with the change of date of the signing ceremony, this conflicted with our agenda. But I'm very pleased that we are able to gather this morning for this very wonderful occasion. I know the registrar has already welcomed everyone, and I will want to just say I side with those, and I would want to be associated with the welcome and introductions, but it will be remiss of me not to extend a special welcome and thank you to our distinguished Minister of Finance, Mrs. Favor Williams, who is in the room as well, to also our visionary leader, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles. Thank you very much for sitting in for us this morning and representing very well your university, sir. I would also like to recognize the other members of the head table, especially our British High Commissioner, Miss Alicia Herbert. I think this is your first official meeting at our university, Madam High Commissioner. Welcome and thank you very much. And I'm pretty sure this will be the first of many. to come. Let me also recognize our partners with the IDB, Invest IDB, Ms. Natasha Marsov as well, and also our local leaders in the form of Dr. Olivine Burke, who is the chair of our USTAR initiative. But most importantly, I think it would really be important that we recognize our local partner. And I will start with the leadership of the FID for his vision, Mr. Dennis Chung, who really and truly is I would say, the father of this initiative this morning. So you can claim paternity, Mr. Chung, because it is your vision that it is your university that must lead in something like this that we are doing this morning. And as a result of that, you reached out to us, and we are very happy that we're here today. But I would also like to recognize the other local partners, the Commissioner of Customs and also Integrity Commission, and we also have, I think, the Integrity Commission, we have the Commission of Customs, and we have other MOCA, I think, is also a part of the lineup as well. So we really want to thank all of you for being here, and also the Regional Security Strategic Services and International Affairs for Regional Security, and the RSS. We want to thank you for joining with us this morning. Now, colleagues, I hope I haven't missed anybody, but if I did, then I apologize, and just, as I said, associate myself with the registrar's overall introduction. But also importantly, let me recognize our media partners for joining with us this morning. This morning's gathering is very special and is very important to all of us. About 5 years ago, when the Vice Chancellor gave all of us in the executive a mandate, he said to us, you're going to lead your campuses, you're going to find new sources of revenue, you're going to diversify your revenue base, and you're going to ensure that we continue to build a self-reliant, self-sustaining UWI. We took that mandate seriously, and as part of the strategic intervention of the university under the AAA plan, the Vice Chancellor made it clear that this phase of the plan is what we are going to dub the revenue revolution. And in a simple way, the revenue revolution simply says to us, each campus will have to go out and they will have to build and grow their revenue base using their core business, so that we can actually sustain the university in collaboration with our funding partners, our government, our multilateral institutions, and our NGOs and donor agencies. It is from that thinking that the UWI Mona would have gone into strategic mode, would have identified the areas of structural weakness in our finances, and having identified those areas, we have set out on a path to not only cut costs or to become more efficient in our operation, but we have identified critically the ability to grow revenue as well. And in that regard, we have recognized that there is a need for an institutional architecture that is going to be sustainable and self-sustaining as well. And so we recognize our competitive advantage as a campus and as a university. Our competitive advantage lies within our research and our pedagogy. And it is because of that, we said, if we scan the market properly, we will be able to find an area that we can exploit this competitive advantage. And having scanned the market, we recognize that there is a huge opportunity in the higher education landscape to offer what is called short cycle courses. We would have studied all of the research as it relates to access to higher education, and we would have recognized that there is indeed an area that is untapped in that market. And that is the area for short cycle courses, where a number of persons do not have an immediate interest in the long-term degree offerings of higher educational institutions. There are people who want to do a 10 weeks course. There are people who want to do a 3 months course. There are people who want to do a 13-hour course. There are people who want to upskill themselves based on where they are now in their work environment and make themselves become more competitive. So having recognized that, we as a university would have said, how do we therefore exploit this competitive advantage? And with the best of strategic thinking, we have come together and we have recognized that the best institutional architecture to execute on this particular initiative is what is now being dubbed today as our UWI Star. Our UWI Star is that institutional arrangement that is designed to provide to the marketplace short cycle courses that will be used to upskill and upgrade the human capital element of our labor force. Why UWI Star is so important? It is so important because this institutional arrangement is now going to provide access to persons who once thought that the university was not their place of choice. What you will see is that people who may not have the normal matriculation requirement will still be able to be associated with our university by doing short cycle courses. And most importantly, what we will do is, having been associated with us through your short cycle courses, we will give you what we call the UWI credits. And the UWI credits are now tradable. So within a 5-year window, if you so desire to now move towards a degree program or to upskill yourself further in the education value chain, you can now trade those credits into the UWI system and you will become the beneficiary of that. So UWI Star, ladies and gentlemen, is one of those far-reaching institutional arrangements within the last decade that this university has now launched in order to provide for capacity building in a different way in the workforce, in the labor market. But today's event is even more significant because through the visionary leadership of, as I said before, Mr. Dennis Chung, he recognized that in the financial sector, there is a huge demand as it relates to dealing with issues around financial crimes, cybersecurity, all those issues. And it is no wonder, having recognized the quality of the UWI and its offerings, Mr. Chung would have reached out to the university and said to the university, can we partner to build capacity in this critical area in the financial sector? After literally about 5 or 6 months of deep diving and deep thinking and strategizing and workshop, we are now happy that we are at a point where this course now will become a reality. This is the kind of agility that is now being spoken about in our strategic plan, the AAA plan. This is your university bringing agility to the marketplace to solve real problems. This is the relevance of your university. This is the impact that your university is now having on the higher education landscape within Jamaica and the wider Caribbean. I'm very pleased to be associated with this. I want to really thank the team from the UWI who have worked assiduously with the team from MOCA, the team from the Commission of Custom, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the people from the FID, and all those who have been involved. All our multilateral partners, the British Council, the IDB, all of you, you have really worked hard over the last 5 months or so to make this a reality. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the beginning of something new. This, I think, is where the higher education landscape is going to make a major difference in terms of making a dent in the low skill, low technology environment that has bedeviled us for a long time. It is through that unholy trinity of low skill, low unemployment, low technology that has really impacted on Caribbean development for a long time. It is through initiatives like these that we're going to see a greater upskilling of our workforce which increases productivity and therefore will increase value added for stronger economic growth. As we speak of economic growth, I'm very happy our Minister of Finance is in the room today, because as you all know, and we all have appreciated and recognized the impact of Hurricane Melissa on our economy in Jamaica. But rest assured, through prudent economic management, we're all confident that Jamaica will recover and recover stronger and better. But within that recovery, we cannot forget the criticality of the human resource, because without the high quality human resource, the recovery will not be strong and lasting. And so this kind of investment today in the quality of our human resource is something that I am very pleased and proud about and want to be associated with. Thank you all. I look forward to the partnership, and I look forward to even more partnerships from other areas within our ecosystem that will facilitate greater development within the human capital element. Thank you very, very much. I will be here, and have a very good rest of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Registrar. I'm sure you would all agree with the principle that the Registrar's version of our national anthem is worthy of investigation. Honorable Minister, congratulations. We have not met or spoken since your triumph at the Democratic poll. Congratulations. Excellency, Dennis, my friend, my colleague of the IDB, and all of my colleagues here at UWI. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I wish to congratulate the Mona campus for its leadership in moving forward with this area of research, professional training, skills development. This is an intersection that has taken place in universities all over the world. In fact, it is arguably the most aggressive frontier in higher education globally. One of the hats I wear is in the role as Chancellor of the United Nations University. And I've just returned from Japan just this morning, where the United Nations University was having precisely this conversation. As you know, the United Nations is having all kinds of cash flow problems, difficulties with their finances, and attracting the arrears owed to it. And the Secretary General has instructed the United Nations University, his university, to bring together, to merge, in fact, the two areas, the research of the university and the skills training and skills development in many areas of the United Nations. And so we spent 2 days precisely discussing how do we bring the accumulation of research that is embodied within university, and for purposes of efficiency and relevant, merge skills development with research. Now, first of all, you have to overcome the biggest pedagogical problem, which is academics are sometimes not keen to participate in skills training. They see themselves as researchers, producing original knowledge, allowing that knowledge to go into teaching and publishing, and believing that skills training, capacity building should be handled by other institutions. Now, that model has collapsed. That model is no longer relevant. What we are now faced with globally is how to make a seamless relationship between skills training, teaching, research, and advocacy. And this is where we are. But I should add that the UWI has been in this business of developing micro-credentialing courses for some time. We have always been in this business, but we are at the moment of maximum maturity where it has now been converged into a seamless operation. And I'm sure that the minister would agree that this approach to creating access to university research, that this approach to delivering skills training and, of course, pedagogical development is consistent with principles of financial efficiency, human resource development. So this, I venture to say, before the minister speaks, this process will warm her heart. And we are doing this everywhere. Now, the intersection is also of great significance for several reasons. First of all, we have to demonstrate that our university is activist. In our strategic plan, as you've heard from the principal, we have declared ourselves to be an activist university, and by that, what do we mean? We identify, let us say, the 10 top challenges that are facing any of our societies, the 10 biggest ones. And the university has to be seen to be activists in solving those problems with stakeholders collaboratively. So we are sleeves rolled up in search of solutions to these biggest problems that we are facing. And no doubt, the issue of integrity within our financial services sector is a top priority for all of us in the Caribbean. And therefore, to do this in the context of partnering is important because no institution can make an impact that is lasting and sustainable without working closely with partners. It is all about that collective consciousness. And so we have our ministry, we have our colleagues, excellencies from the British High Commission, and this is why she's here. We have our enduring partners at the IDB. We can hardly do anything without the IDB of late. Thank you, madam. And of course, our merging of internal competencies with external partners to create that specific kind of focus. This theme is critical to us. You cannot have effective, sustainable economic development unless the circuit of money and capital, the movement of financial resources through all the sectors of the economy, unless it can be measured and assessed to have integrity and to be as free as humanly possible from criminality. This is important. In fact, the research has shown that financial corruption, financial crimes, unethical behavior, these can have a measurable impact in slowing down the rate of economic development. This has been demonstrated in many countries around the world. You can be losing up to 20% of your GDP. You could be slowing down your economic growth by 2-3% if you are not in control of a process that has integrity and is free of crime. We also know that it's about the preservation of democracy. You need to have a sense of equality within your financial services. It's not just for the wealthy and the politically influential to control these processes and to bend them into shape. It is for all citizens to feel that there is reasonable access, there is fair procedures, and that everyone is treated equally within the sector, both as a consumer of capital and as an investor of capital. All of this is about the integrity of a democratic social order. So we cannot minimize the importance of this, and we congratulate Dennis Chung for the work that he has done over time, and the university has pledged its support and working with you and working with all of the relevant stakeholders to the country's economic development. This is top priority for us, and we are honored to be in a position to take the considerable amount of research that exists within the walls of this university and make it available in micro-credentialing processes and procedures. As I said before, this is necessary. It is pertinent, and the university is willing to give its full support to all stakeholders who are concerned with this particular issue of financial security, financial ethics, and the morality of the management of our financial services sector. And I will end by noting that the content of these courses will be based on new, original, and global quality research. We will funnel this into short programs. It's a skill set, in fact, and taking broad and complex research information matters, condensing them into specific training and teaching processes, but at the same time ensuring that there is intellectual integrity in that process. This is a great intersection for all of us, the activist university, those who recognize that universities do have a role to play in developing capacity to solve these specific problems. And we are fully on board. I congratulate the Mona principal and all of his colleagues for making this happen. And I hope that it will, like an amoeba, I hope it will spread to many other areas of national concern. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I know we've gone through the protocol list, but I can't just say all protocols observed. So let me acknowledge Professor Sir Hilary Beckles. You know him as the VC. Professor Denzel Williams, principal of the Mona campus. Of course, we have our campus registrar, who I know in another life, Ministry of Agriculture. Let me also greet Excellency Miss Alicia Herbert, I hope I said your last name correctly, who I've been speaking with online via emails, lots of emails. I'm glad to meet you in person this morning. Of course, we have our partners from the IDB, Natasha, and I think Jason at the end. Dr. Olivine Burke. I've known her for as long as I've been in the politics, not because we do politics together, but because she is, could I say, just a community person who has spent many, many years bringing the community of Augusttown in closer connection with the university. I'm sure many of you here know that Augusttown is at the back gate of UWI. It's a community that, if you look back in its history, was crime-ridden. But Dr. Olivine Burke has taken it on. And now I can proudly say, when you think Augusttown, I believe the connection with crime is receding in people's minds. And I want to thank her and her team just for the work that she has been doing on behalf of the university and Augusttown community. Thank you so much, and please give her a round of applause. It's not easy work, and I want to thank the university for taking it on as well. I know we have heads of law enforcement agencies here this morning, and I want to acknowledge you. In particular, Dennis Strong, the CTD, Chief Technical Director of Financial Investigation Division, for the visionary work this morning. We're gathered here to learn about the launch of the short course, Fundamentals of Countering Financial Crime. And I want to encourage you and other heads of law enforcement agency to take advantage of this great opportunity here to build skills in your various entities. I can tell you up and down, we talk about not having the skill set in Jamaica. Well, here is the building block for that skill set that is needed. I know as well in the front we have our commissioner, Ricketts Walker. Thank you so much. I know your job is not easy either. Everybody would love to bring in goods without paying duties, but I know the work that you do in protecting the revenue of the country, which we so desperately need for all the things that we have to do, in particular now for the restoration that must get done following the massive, massive hurricane that we all just went through. Let me acknowledge as well representatives from the Integrity Commission. Mr. Stevenson, can you raise your hands? Over there. All right, good. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, staff, faculty members of UWI, of course, I have to acknowledge the media as well. Thank you for always helping us to carry the good news. Thank you. So I thought I was just here to launch the short course on fundamentals of countering financial crime. But listening to the Vice Chancellor and the Principal, it's more than that. It's something bigger. It is not just the launch. It is the expansion of UWI STAR to drive skills development. There are many persons who are fully working, gainfully employed, but they want to go back to university to expand their knowledge base. Of course, they can't afford to not work, or sometimes they can't even afford to do part-time, but who would gravitate easily to a short course, and knowing that that short course will add towards a degree down the road. I think this is a very attractive proposition. And I want to invite the principal and campus registrar for a meeting with our very own Student Loan Bureau, because it is an entity that can help to facilitate the financing of these short courses. Don't you think, VC? So I'd like to have that conversation going, because I can see the proliferation of many, many, many short courses and how attractive it will be to many persons. So to the course at hand, I want to say I would not miss this event for the world, and that's not a statement I make frivolously or to grab a headline. A good reputation in anti-money laundering is worth its weight in gold. Having been as involved in the financial sector from as many different vantage points as I have, I can say to you that the value of being known as a jurisdiction that takes AML, CFT, PF seriously is immeasurable. Jamaica will have its mutual evaluation next year. We already completed a draft national risk assessment. I am going through it. I'm looking at the comparison between where we are now in 2025 versus where we were in 2021. And I can tell you that from top to bottom of government, we take this seriously. I know that you know that on any website you go to read up on financial crimes or, AML, CFT, it will tell you that it is no secret that some people and groups will do anything for money or other forms of wealth, even resort to breaking the law. These persons will go to great lengths. The persons who will go to great lengths may try to claim that these financial crimes are justifiable because the financial crimes have no victims, or that the victims can afford the losses. Think back several years ago when scamming was coming to our consciousness here in Jamaica. I'm sure you recall that there were many who did not see it as a serious crime. Oh, they said, the elderly people in the U.S. are financially well off, they can afford it. It wasn't taken seriously in the early days. Well, today in 2025, we know how serious scamming is, as some of the proceeds are used to buy guns that are then turned on us Jamaicans. Financial crime is, as you know, any activity that allows an individual or group to unlawfully gain financial assets. It typically involves either directly stealing from a person or institution, or else illegally changing or obscuring who owns an asset. Financial crime is sometimes referred to as white-collar crime because it targets assets rather than people themselves, and so tend to be non-violent, but not always, as we know. And in any event, it can still be extremely damaging to individuals' financial situation in even regional or global markets. So today, I am delighted to join the FID in the launch of the UWI's Fundamentals of Countering Financial Crimes certificate program. It is the first of its kind in the region. As prior to this, all certification in financial crimes needed to be done outside the region. The course will start on January 6, 2026, with the first cohort of 30 persons, which is 5 persons from each participating law enforcement agency. It will last for 6 weeks and will be face-to-face for the first cohort. And after that, the course will be offered by distance learning platforms so persons in the region can participate. And it is here I want to say thank you to our partners, the IADB and the British High Commission, for helping to fund this endeavor. Your financial support will help us solve the skills shortage and will spur greater interest in law enforcement jobs. Thank you so much. As you know, Jamaica is a member of the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, CFATF. It's the region's anti-money laundering organization. It comprises of some 27 Caribbean states working to combat money laundering and terrorist financing by implementing the International Financial Action Task Force standards within the region. We cooperate on common countermeasures, strengthen legal framework, and support member compliance. As Minister of Finance and the Public Service, I was the chair for this past year, and only just last week we were in Barbados at the handover to Barbados, who will become the chair for this coming year. One of our major tasks from now until Jamaica's next full mutual evaluation, which is scheduled for 2026, is to prepare for this assessment. It takes a lot of work to get done, and we would love to sail through this assessment. Jamaica has completed its 4th round of mutual evaluation, and the subsequent follow-up process, having been removed from FATF's grey list. In June of 2024, we had to address 13-point action plan. We were also on the Europeans blacklist. We've come off of that. And we do not want to get back there on either list as a jurisdiction. Courses like this, Fundamentals of Counter and Financial Crime, will increase the knowledge base of our professionals. And again, it will help in terms of attracting others to the field who may have felt that they can't necessarily leave what they're doing now to go into that because of when they look at the cost, the time involved. But here, partnering with UWI, we are making it possible. Thanks again to the Director of the Financial Investigation Division for this initiative. We can sleep better at nights knowing that conscientious persons are at work, ensuring that Jamaica keeps strengthening its AML, CFT, PF architecture and framework. Thank you very much.
I think the Minister deserves a bigger round of applause. Thank you so much, Minister. And my prayers are with you at this time. I know it's very difficult to be a Minister of Finance, particularly now, but you have the strength. So we thank you for coming, and the VC before that, and our principal. Now we're going to hear from our partners in the following order. Miss Alicia Herbert, Her Excellency, followed by the country rep from the IDB, Natasha Marzolf. Welcome them, please.
Excuse me. Honourable Minister, distinguished faculty, ladies and gentlemen, partners, friends, good morning. And thank you very much for such a warm welcome this morning. Indeed, it's a privilege to join you today at the launch of this very important course on countering financial crime, a course that will be delivered here at the University of the West Indies, which is a regional institution that continues to lead the Caribbean in rigorous academic inquiry and professional training. And as has been pointed out this morning, in a sense, this course is the start of a sort of new age here at the university. Financial crime is not an abstract threat confined to far-off financial centres. It is a clear and present challenge that affects the safety, the prosperity and the reputation of every nation, large or small. Money laundering, corruption, fraud, and illicit financial flows undermine public trust, erode institutions, and divert resources away from healthcare, education, and development. In a world where capital moves instantly and criminal networks operate with global reach, no country can tackle these issues alone. And so international cooperation, strong institutions, and a skilled workforce are essential. And so that's why in the UK today we launched our national anti-corruption strategy. And a key deliverable from that strategy will be an international summit in London in June of next year. A summit that will bring together governments, civil society organisations and private sector representatives to build an international coalition to tackle the flows of dirty money around the world. The United Kingdom has long partnered with Jamaican institutions such as MoCA, the Integrity Commission, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Indicom, and of course the Financial Investigations Division, to strengthen the capability and the capacity to support a safer, more transparent, more resilient Jamaica and indeed the wider region. That partnership with Jamaica and indeed across the region remains a priority for us. Because a modern financial system demands modern skills. This course will enhance Jamaica's capacity to fight financial crime. It has been designed to offer professional development for existing and future law enforcement officers, building a cadre of qualified and capable officers that's crucial to tackling an ever more sophisticated, serious organised crime context. And training is a frontline defence against financial crime. By investing in human capital, we are strengthening Jamaica's ability to protect its economy, to attract investment, and to maintain global confidence. And as we confront new technologies, from cryptocurrencies to AI-driven fraud, our approaches must evolve. Courses like this ensure that Jamaica, and indeed the wider region, is not reaching from behind, but in fact preparing from ahead. I'm confident that graduates of this programme will go on to play critical roles. Their work will help to safeguard financial systems, uphold transparency, and reinforce the rule of law. Let me once again congratulate the University of the West Indies, the course designers, Mr. Chung, your name has been called many times this morning, and all the partners who have made this initiative possible. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank a long-time partner of the British government, the IDB, for coming on board to fund the attendance of 30 graduates, or 30 participants, I should say, per course over the course of the next 3 courses. The United Kingdom is proud to support your commitment to excellence and integrity. Thank you very much, and I wish all the participants great success in the journey ahead. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Mr. Donovan Stanberry, Professor Williams, Professor Beckles, the Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Ms. Alicia Herbert, High British Commissioner, Dr. Berkey, Mr. Chung, and my friend and colleague Jason from the IDB. Good morning again. On behalf of the Inter-American Development Bank, it is a great pleasure to join you for the launch of this certificate course in Fundamentals of Countering Financial Crime. Let me first acknowledge the great work of our host, the University of the West Indies, as well as recognize the concerted efforts of our partners at the Financial Investigations Division within the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, the British High Commission, the Regional Security System, and all institutions represented on the project's working group that worked together over several months to get us here today. We are here in Jamaica to celebrate strengthening the Caribbean's long-term capacity to anticipate, investigate, and respond to threats in a digital and rapidly shifting environment. Over the initial set of cohorts, we anticipate that at least 90 professionals will be successfully trained to contribute to a safer, more resilient, and more competitive Caribbean. But this program does not stop here. The ground-laid work today opens the door for future accreditation, deeper collaboration and regional outreach, and a long-term pipeline of financial investigation talent across the Caribbean. This moment today is significant, as the launch is far more than the start of a training program. This launch represents confidence in our collective ability to prepare Jamaica and the wider Caribbean for the evolving challenges protecting financial systems and preserving the integrity of our economies. Today, we are living in a global reality where illicit flows, scamming, cyber-enabled fraud, and sophisticated money laundering schemes cut across national borders and economic sectors. Responding to this reality requires strong systems, policies, and procedures. And at the heart of these responses are the people who create and animate them, competent, talented professionals with the skills, the academic background, the judgment, and the investigative tools to follow the money and disrupt criminal activity before it can undermine further national development and economic growth. This course today that we are launching is part of that response. It is timely, it is strategic, and forward-looking, and the Inter-American Development Bank is honored and privileged to be part of this story that is just beginning. This is also a shared priority for Jamaica and for the region, as it aligns with Jamaica's national priorities for securing its financial systems and those of our Caribbean neighbors. The Global Organized Crime Index notes financial crimes remain the most prevalent market in the world, with an illicit market that saw the greatest expansion globally across the planet over the past 2 years. Whereas measures of resilience in economic, regulatory, and anti-money laundering capacity have declined globally over that same period, in the Caribbean it is the reverse. We see the majority of countries showing actual improvement in the institutional capacity to withstand crime. This is a significant achievement and a hopeful and positive signal for the region, and one that we should all continue to support and invest in. Meeting the challenge arising from organized crime lay at the origin of one of our most important initiatives in the Caribbean at the IDB, the One Caribbean program, where we place citizen security and the rule of law as a fundamental pillar of regional development. So you might ask yourself today, why is the IDB invested in this work? Why are we supporting this effort? At the IDB, our knowledge, our track record, and our experience over 50+ years in development finance has demonstrated and shown to us that building a comprehensive ecosystem of institutional resilience is one of the most powerful and compelling tools against financial crime, focusing on regulation, on compliance, and on enforcement. That is why our commitment extends across a range of complementary initiatives. Let me just highlight a few of them. In Jamaica, we are working with the Financial Services Commission in its effort to modernize the regulatory framework for market conduct and consumer protection for the entire financial services industry on the island. As we speak in this moment, we are also hosting a regional workshop in Trinidad and Tobago on crypto assets and money laundering risk, jointly organized with the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, an organization of American states, building capacity and collaborative practices between financial intelligence units and law enforcement from across the Caribbean. We are also partnering with the Asset Recovery and Interagency Network, ARIN Carib, within the regional security system to develop and pilot and scale up a model framework for joint investigative teams for financial investigation, asset recovery, working cross-nationally across the Caribbean. These regional and national efforts all contribute to the same shared goal, which is to make the best effort to demonstrate compliance and effectiveness, particularly as the fifth round of mutual evaluation is upcoming. Our collaboration with Jamaica is strong, as we want to recognize that this launch today is where our collaboration is particularly embedded. The partnership between UWI and the FID blends academic rigor with real investigative expertise, creating a program that is both practical and accessible. And a strong partnership between ourselves and the British High Commission to foster region-wide solutions for safeguarding the Caribbean security landscape continues to be a model for collaboration. When many institutions choose to work together, collaborate together, share knowledge with government, with universities and regional partners, it tells a powerful story of shared responsibility and shared purpose. In closing, let me please reiterate that the Inter-American Development Bank is committed to supporting the successful rollout of this program and to continue the collaboration with the government of Jamaica in strengthening its financial integrity frameworks and UWI. Congratulations again to the teams who have made this possible, and I look forward to the impact this initiative will create for Jamaica and for the wider Caribbean. Thank you.
Okay, thanks again to our partners, the IDB and the British High Commission. Just want to clarify, is Ms. Reed Bowen here? Online, okay. All right, so we're going to proceed as follows. We're going to hear from Ms. Is she ready? No. Ms. Reed Bowen, Director Strategic Services and International Affairs, Regional Security System. And then we will hear from the person to whom paternity is being attributed. Although I came here dressed in a jacket. We're going to leave Dr. Burke for the last. She will do the overview and right into the signing and we close. So we're going to proceed like that. So let's just hear it for Ms. Reed Bowen and afterwards Mr. Chong. Give them a hand, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I bring you warm greetings from our Executive Director of the Regional Security System, Rear Admiral Arrington Sherlin. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank Dr. Burke and her team, as well as our colleagues at the Inter-American Development Bank, for the kind invitation to participate in this much-needed capacity-building initiative. The regional security system continues to evolve from its traditional role in coordinating security responses to stricken member states under its collective defense and security model. The organization has been known for coordinating boots on the ground, so to speak. However, as we strive to ensure that our security mechanism remains relevant and delivers service that is commensurate with the needs of our member states, the RSS, a group of 8 sovereign nations in the Caribbean, has prioritized its anti-money laundering, countering financing of terrorism, and countering proliferation financing programming, which is consistent with the evolving nature of the criminogenic environment. The growing complexities of transnational organized crime, the increasing rates of serious crimes across some of our jurisdictions that are linked to the high-risk criminal networks, or transnational criminal organizations, as you would call it, and the acknowledgement that illicit financing is available to fuel these illicit operations demand that the national security frameworks aggressively incorporate mechanisms to take the profit out of crime. And for the RSS, the application of strengthened AML, CFT, and PF systems designed to protect the integrity of our financial systems is critical in our approach to managing crime and security and achieving sustainable development by extension. Now, AML, CFT, PF standards, particularly those set by the Financial Action Task Force, have become essential pillars of regional and global financial security, and they have evolved into benchmarks that shape legislation, institutional procedures, and international cooperation frameworks. And we are therefore compelled to continue programming that modernizes our legal systems so that they remain commensurate or compliant with FATF's AML-CFT standards, strengthen financial intelligence and investigations departments, and ensure their work is properly embedded into criminal investigations and overall counter-crime strategy. Now, as we would have heard earlier from various representations made by our esteemed colleagues this morning, the region is not immune to the flow of illicit financing and its contribution to the expansion of illegal trafficking and other activities by high-risk criminal networks. As the Permanent Coordinating Secretariat for the Asset Recovery Interagency Network for the Caribbean, the RSS appreciates the interconnectedness of the criminal network and the integrated framework which facilitates the flow of monies for the planning and execution of criminal activities within several jurisdictions. Judging from the international security cooperation we have coordinated to advance investigations here in the region and in other parts of the world by law enforcement agencies, we continue to advocate for strengthening the AML-CFT systems, inclusive of strengthening our financial investigations departments, so that we can continue to realize the investigative and prosecutorial successes. And therefore, capacity building opportunities such as this, which seek to strengthen technical competencies in countering financial crime, must be lauded. And I would make the point here that to date, in 2025 so far, we have fielded a lot of international cooperation on cases, from money laundering, tax evasion, fraud, drug trafficking, gold and migrant smuggling, corruption, you name it. So the engagement across the law enforcement units, particularly the financial investigations departments within the region and across the world in Europe, Eastern Europe, Latin America, and so on, continue. We look forward to further collaboration with the UWI in strengthening certified programs in financial investigations and asset recovery, inclusive of the tracing, identification, and management of virtual assets, and investigation and prosecution of virtual assets related cases. As Professor Hilary Beckles would have indicated, the integrity of our financial systems must remain a priority for the region, and this cannot be achieved without the continued professionalization of our practitioners through accreditation. We must posit here that the work that we have started must be complemented by cost-effective asset management systems, because we anticipate an uptick in the number of financial investigations being conducted as a result of the support to increase the competencies of these departments. Suitable systems for the application of targeted financial sanctions against the transnational criminal organizations, and comprehensive statistical frameworks to identify trends and inform on operational and strategic decision-making. This does require significant investment from our stakeholders, and I want to commit to you today that the RSS remains committed to working with all agencies across the Caribbean space to realize these initiatives. We look forward to further collaboration with the UWI on the continued professionalization of practitioners in this space, and we extend warm congratulations again on reaching this milestone, the launch of the Fundamentals in Countering Financial Crime program. We wish this cohort and all future cohorts a successful course. Thank you once again for the kind invitation to participate here today.
Just say that I observe the protocol that has already been established and recognize the head table and everyone in the audience. Thank you, Donovan. You know there's a high level of paternity fraud in Jamaica. So I'll just say that I had this discussion with Colonel Edwards, Gary Dixon, and Jason. So we won't any test. right? I'll just accept it. But it is indeed a pleasure for me to be here and see the launch of this program, because coming out of the discussion that the four of us had, we thought that it was necessary and a time to move with it. I know myself and Desi would have discussed the shortage of skills in the industry, and not just skills, but one of the things we discussed, and Nigel would have told us, Nigel is here from MoCA, is that it's not only a skill gap. The fact of the matter is that a very small percentage of people make it to the final interview because of integrity issues. And that's one of the things that we need to address. So when they spoke to me about it and we had a discussion, they asked me to speak with Denzel, VC, and Denzel was obviously very welcoming of it, and he said, let us make it happen. You know, he knows that the UWI would support it, and the UWI being a regional university, the premier one, and Jason saying he wanted it to be a regional offering. We said, you know, let's talk to UWI and see how we can get it regional. I want to recognize my staff here from FID, and in particular, Mr. Darren, who is our Principal Director for Investigations, and said to your VC that the matter of the singing of the registrar, of taking it seriously, MoCA has launched a criminal investigation into it, because it seems like a major crime that we have to deal with. I want to therefore recognize not just the heads of agencies, but the persons who have made this happen, right? So we would have discussed it, but certainly people like Nigel was here at the committee. Kevin couldn't have happened without Kevin, Nigel. We had other persons from TAJ, can't recall the names, Customs, also the JCF was also here, and therefore all those agencies are now the recipient minister of the first 5 from each, which we welcome the support of the IDB and the British High Commission through SOCAP, and VC, the IDB, has assured me that unlike the United Nations, they don't have a cash flow problem. So, right, Jason? So we can have that continuous conversation with them. But certainly this is one of the ways in which we work together. I mean, one of the things I enjoy about being at FID is the way the LEAs work with each other. We work together a lot on various initiatives. There are MOUs right across the industry that we work closely with. I mean, my long-standing friendship with Velma and Desi has helped that a whole lot also. But we work together with the Integrity Commission, the Casino Gaming Commission. There are a host of MOUs across the agencies that we work together on. And more recently, one of the things that we've been doing is we just launched a time signal, Desi, a collaboration between the FID, MoCA, and the JCF to advise persons where to report financial crimes. So it's a long-standing relationship that we're working with, and we take our mandate under the FID Act under Section 5 on financial crimes awareness very seriously. And this, I think, is another step towards that direction. So the development of this program actually illustrates the way in which we work together, right? So thanks to all the agencies that have been working on it and has brought this to fruition. I think this is a seminal moment, because to have something like this, which is homegrown across the region, not just Jamaica, to have something like this that will eventually as the principal said, develop into a degree program. I think it's a significant landmark for us to have something like this in the region where we can say it's our own and we're benefiting not just from the local academics, but the persons who are actually in the field who are working. Because one of the things we're looking at seriously at FID, and I know also at MOCA, is the whole matter of succession planning. If we don't train people, right, then there's a present crop of persons who are excellent when it comes to investigation, but we have to keep that train moving. We have to get younger persons into it. We have to get persons in that line of succession so they can take over and do even better. So this certification program is therefore just another illustration of the partnership, and we're related that the UA is actually the institution that has come on board with us. I want to once again thank everyone that has been involved. As I said, the real workers, the Kevans, the Nigels, Gary, who has been on it, and others. They're the persons who have really made this happen. And, you know, put their time in to ensure that young persons have a new career path that they can work on. And finally, before closing, just want to encourage everyone that's out there that, you know, we want everyone to feel confident in the LEAs and know that you can report financial crimes to us and they'll be treated very confidentially and will be dealt with. Thank you everyone for this and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Dennis. I'm really amazed at the extent to which people don't appreciate good singing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have deliberately reserved for last Dr. Burke, who has championed this USTAR initiative and has brought considerable enthusiasm and energy to USTAR. And she's now going to come and tell us what this thing is all about, the nuts and bolts, and immediately thereafter we will sign the funding agreement. The Vice Chancellor will sign on our behalf and the IDB rep. So please welcome Olivier.
Thank you so much, Registrar. Professor Denzel Williams, our principal, the Honorable Minister Babel Williams, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, Mr. Dennis Strong, Ms. Natasha Marzolf, Ms. Rhea Reed Brown online, Ms. Alicia Herbert, the media, other distinguished guests in the audience and online. We do have a number of persons online. And of course, my nearest person was sitting beside me, Jason. Special greetings to you all. And it's my pleasure to now present the overview of the program. Now, first of all, this media launch is indeed an extraordinary one. As we open the university gates on this sponsored certificate short course, Fundamentals of Countering Financial Crimes. So I do have the task to bring the overview. Now, the UWI's task is to deliver an introductory short course on certifying individuals seeking foundational knowledge in financial crime and associated countermeasures. Facilitated through the UWI Star, which is the centralized hub for all the short courses on the university campus, the initial training will bolster core competencies relevant to financial crime investigations and expanding the pool of prospective professionals in this field and other disciplines who we would want to attract into the area to widen the scope. The course will initially be operated over 3 targeted and funded, specially funded cycles. Following those, the course will be offered, and Dennis mentioned it just now, to the wider Caribbean of people from different disciplines as the case allows. We are at the same time thinking about advancing towards an undergraduate degree in investigating financial crimes, but this is for another forum as we develop the degree program coming out of the short course. The course will initially be operated over the 3 funded cycles, and the content is related to applying financial investigations and asset recovery techniques to the technical roles and institutional contexts of participants. Participants will explore investigative methods, receive ongoing mentoring and tutorship, as well as conduct applied learning experiences via face-to-face in the first instance, but then ultimately blended learning approach that uses an online collaborative platform and appropriate learning management system. The training will be delivered over 6 weeks, 2 days per week. Each cohort will be accommodating 25 to 30, maximum 30 persons in each cohort. The 6 thematic areas of focus include illicit financial flows, enabling legislation for regulatory actors, cybersecurity or digital forensic, international cooperation, asset recovery and effectiveness, and financial intelligence analysis, among other areas. Now, we purposefully just give you a few to whet your appetite so that we will attract the cohorts beyond the 3 specially funded cohorts. Participants who successfully complete all the modules will receive a University of the West Indies Certificate of Achievement endorsed by the UWI insignia and, of course, the UWI reputation. Although it's a short course, because of the nature, the design team utilized a rigorous multi-tiered system to ensure that both industry relevance and superior quality were embedded in the design of the program. I'm grateful for the dedication of everyone who were involved in the process and the contributions made in the course design and development by our academic faculties, specifically Deans Ali from the Faculty of Law, Dean Ricketts from the Faculty of Social Sciences, and the teams from those faculties, Lila, Rhea Graham, Celia, as well as Eaton from the Faculty of Social Sciences. Then we have persons from the law enforcement agencies, and you would have heard Dennis and others mentioned some of them. And of course, our local and international stakeholders, we did mention like Alan and Gary, among others. They extended expertise through weekly consultative meetings over 4 to 6 months, and also technical advice, which we, the UWI team, extensively benefited from. And while I appreciate that this is not the complete vote of thanks, I extend appreciation to Vice Chancellor Beckles and our executive management team led by Professor Principal Denzel Williams. Principal's vision and leadership have been instrumental in making this initiative the golden nugget it has become. His commitment to responding to the demands of the market and to ensure that the university is more in sync with global issues is precisely the reason we are here today. This is extraordinary times in which we are, and for the Minister of Finance and Public Service, the Honorable Minister Williams, we have worked, as she mentioned, in different capacities of crime and violence. For her to be here today, showcase the national significance of countering financial crime in an economy that now must be rebuilt from a national disaster, and financial accountability and transparency are critical building blocks of that rebuilding process. I am also expressing gratitude to the UWI team of Loretta Anderson, O'Neill Jones, and Marsali, beautifully decked in our UWI red shirts around the back there. If it were not for them, if it were not for their commitment to countering financial crime, this too would not have been here today. If commitment to countering financial crime is equivalent to their commitment to this initiative, then we are also in good standing. This feels like a community initiative. Collaborative work with Campus Legal Office, Dr. Glegg, Maury, the Principal's Office, Stephanie, Maury, John, technical support and advice from Alan, Gary, Dennis, and Jason, among others, ensure that we secured this partnership that I think have a significant national, regional, and global impact. Even at the heights of the hurricane, the teams found creative ways to communicate and got things done. SSP Jones, Nigel, Kevon, Desmond, and I hope I have not forgotten any of the names. They were all, Minister, the hurricane did not prevent the work that we were doing. I'm expressing also gratitude to the media for coming out, and of course, our technical team. The UWI is that agent of change and one of the many vehicles through which UWI embrace new reality to educate and illuminate through flexible and responsive short course development, aided by the global and regional collaboration. The UWI is indeed responding to industry and breaking barriers between education and development. And so for us to be here today to witness the signing of the contribution and the investment that the IDB and the British Council is making in this course, it is indeed a great honor for the US Star and its team to be a part of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you also for your contribution to be here as part of the witness to our commitment to make the environment better.
Please give Hollywood another round of applause. And it's showtime now. So we're going to sign. This is the grant agreement between the IDB, the main sponsor, and the university, as I said, Vice Chancellor Beckles. Will sign and so, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our deliberation. We want to thank Minister who has to run. I know Monday, what is day is that? And it's Cabinet Day. Thank you, Minister. Dr. Burke has already given the vote of thanks. So it is only left for me to thank you all and thank our media for being here. We have refreshments. Please enjoy. God bless you all. All the best, Minister.
Thank you.